All right. Well, the cat aside, I do want to introduce this concept to you as new or even as old DMs or PCs. We have assembled our party, right? If we're all PCs getting ready to play in this game that Ivalon is creating for us, we've made our characters. Now it's time to. Oh, it's out for delivery. I better take my headphones off, honestly. That way I can hear the doorbell a little bit better. I'll still point these out. You'll have to look at colors elsewhere. Oh, whatever. I got a tabby on the desk. He's colorful. He's just not too bright. You're going to open a sandwich company in your shop and call it Tier 3 Subs? That's a business model that might just work, actually, Tin Cat. Anyway, when the doorbell rings, by the way, I will... I'm going to mute the mic and go take care of that transaction real quick. So anyway... When we sit down together as PCs, I have a very large tabby mustache / beard. We can make a character sheet, quote unquote, for our party. And doing that can be important. It can reveal where we're really strong, where we're weak. It can go over a lot of aspects, because the party itself will have a personality. It'll have a dynamic, and it's important to explore that as characters and as players. Yes, yeah, Dark Wolf is correct. All right, so this is out for delivery. The mini game is effectively over. I'm going to minimize this, or rather, I'm just going to click out of it. Charles left the store with my order at 1:12. Okay, it's been 3 minutes, so I will if I'm gone and I don't come back, I need you to call Domino's and ask where's Charles and what happened. I might be kicking and screaming in a trunk. All right. Yeah, hashtag hurry Charles. You can see for the other 4 characters, I started laying out their abilities in a matrix. That way we can get a sense of who is strong or who is weak in certain aspects. Now that we have our 5th character, you can see how the process will finish out. We don't have a name for her. Let's see. Our other Dragonborn was named Kuprozin. Fun Easter egg. Do any of you know why I named this character Kuprozin? Anyway. We need to give her a name of some... Hashtag beware Charles. We need to give her a name. What would be a good copper dragon name? Let's see. She's metallic. She's copper. How about so she's gonna have a very elaborate draconic name. People will just call her Condi. All right. Just as people will just call her Coop. Conduizkta. Or Qatar. Conduizktar. Alice Copper. Dark Wolf. So we are going to call her Condi. And an Easter egg, if you... why does she have this name? 12 in strength, 16 in Dex, 12 in Con, 14 Int, 16 Wisdom, and 9 Charisma. Now, you may very well say, but she's level 8 and you have a level 19 character up there. How is that fair? It's fair because even if we take them all back down to level 1, we know the general direction that they're going to go in. And the escalation of abilities and the disparity between ACs and a hit in 5th edition is very low. You can, if you have a very rich character or a very generous DM, you can start with a character in full plate armor and wearing a shield, meaning that you're going to have a 20 AC, and maybe you go a defensive fighter, so you're a 21, and you will still be a 21 AC at level 20. I mean, unless you might get some magic armor or something, right? So the curve is really flat. If we can see generally where these different characters lie in abilities, we'll know their strengths and weaknesses regardless of their level. It's not that intimidating in 5th edition. Granny is the best character. I think a lot of us have a special place in our heart for Granny. And what you can do even is you can highlight where we are strong by removing the color. If you instead want to do the top 2, do the top 2. If you want to do what are the top 2 scores of every character, instead of if you want to go horizontally instead of vertically, rows instead of columns, you can do that as well. You know, in this case, we have a super de-duper wisdom, and then she's just really good in the middle. So maybe, I don't know, you leave that blank or something. That's up to you. However you are conceptualizing, or we, if it's all of us who are sitting down doing this process. You know, she has good strength and con here, however you'd like to go about doing that. But we can see, okay, we're really good in wisdom and we're really good in strength. And overall, while we may not have super high scores, we don't have a lot of dump stats in strength. Con is actually fairly solid. We don't have any dump stats in con, which can happen for roleplay reasons or even mechanical reasons. If you're a backliner, you know, if you're a wizard or like a ranged rogue or something and you're like, I should never be getting into combat, you can make con your dump stat if you really want to. And charisma is a little bit more of a dump stat for us as a party. Oh, by the way, the alignment is, she is NG for neutral good. All right. Now you can also see down here, I have already taken the 4 other characters and I've distributed their names among all of the skills that are available. This is going to help us as a party conceptualize what we're going to be really good at doing over the course of the adventure. Name her Alice Ushquinix. It says Tin Cat. Rename Coop to Cooper. It's not. It is not that, Dark Wolf. Although that is clever. You definitely think Granny should be a permanent figurehead in this world. Every region knows her. She has no real political or religious power, but everyone just knows the wonderful Granny. Well, we could do something like that, Tin Cat, I'm sure. And Carrot Wolf, Dark Wolf. Carrot Wolf is offering a dark snake. Ushquinix is Russian for paratois. So let's fill in real quick here. We have we have Condi, and she is proficient in athletics. She is proficient in acrobatics. she is proficient in stealth. In fact, she's not just proficient in stealth, but she has expertise, and so we can highlight that even further, right? Expertise, expertise. She also is proficient in insight. And is not only proficient, but has expertise. And perception. Now, if it makes more sense, instead of just seeing this, we can almost style this as a bar graph, as a horizontal bar graph. For instance, here, look, we have well, they're red because no one in the party is proficient in those skills. Now, that doesn't mean that we have dumb people. It just means that they're not getting their proficiency bonus. The closest may be Granny, because we made a note up here. As a bard, she gets, well, it's called Jack of all trades. We said Jill of all trades. But she has Jill of all trades, which means she's at least adding half of her proficiency here. But no one is still proficient in these skills. There are several skills which are covered, though they're only covered by one character in the party. Now what you can do is, instead of choosing red, and if any of you out there, by the way, I'm narrating that, it may seem obvious, but some of you out there may have color blindness, and I want to make sure that I'm being respectful of that. One of my players has color blindness, and so, I mean, it's not like, oh, you poor dear, like, oh, you know, you're a wretch of the world or anything, but it's something to consider, right? If you want to make an open game or things that are accessible, for someone who's not colorblind, it helps you to describe the world better when you are wanting to make sure that you can bring life to your world and still accommodate the players that are at your table. Whoops. Okay, here we go. Okay, I am back. I have survived the delivery. Dun dun dun. Yes, Corrupt Pharaoh. I ordered pizza on the last break and it just arrived. I'd be happy to share, but unfortunately, teleportation technology hasn't been invented yet for me to be able to do so. Stream Marine, welcome back. Hello. All right, now I can put my earphones back on because I don't have to listen for the front door. We were playing the mini game. We're watching. You know how we have the stream boss up here? Well, we're having the Domino's. You know how they make your pizza timeline going, and it was finally out for delivery. Hashtag didn't need to be wearing Charles. All right, so what we're doing now. Roger that. Please proceed to loading bay Delta 2. Roger, roger. Yeah, that's right. The pizza is in the house. I repeat, the pizza is in the house. Oh, my cats love me. Oh, isn't that amazing? They just randomly decided at 1:30 a.m. The cats just love me right now. I wonder why. All right, let's continue with what we're doing here. Stream Marine, welcome back. Corrupt Pharaoh, it's good to see you again. We have made all 5 characters that we are going to be running through the campaign tomorrow, okay? Now we are making a worksheet or a character sheet for the party. We're going to be examining their strengths and such. Oh, Dark Wolf added a picture. Sure, I'll take a look real quick. By the way, if you want a really inspirational story about someone in our community, hop over to the Discord and read what happened to Tin Cat up here. You're doing a test on coloring metal. Ah, so this is a tiefling that is living in the Mesomasca region of Mesotopia. Dark Wolf, I'll give you a thumbs up for sure. Chester needs to be an adventuring party ally, kind of like in Don't Starve. So what we're doing is we're making a party comparison sheet. And we're going to be examining as player characters, right? Right now, we are all playing the part of player characters who are going to be playing in the adventure that we're running tomorrow. And if any of you know the business lingo, we are going to be making a SWOT report also. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. So, after laying out all 5 characters and their ability scores to find out who is strong in what, and overall as a party, where are we strong, where are we weak, these are the saves in which we're proficient, and our alignments, because things can happen. We're now going through and considering our skills, our skill sets as a party. I mean, just as any of you who have military experience, you know, if I presume that when you're forming squads or you're going to do a mission, you have people who had different expertises, you filled certain roles in the patrol or in the in the mission group. Or look at Star Trek, if that's a little bit more ubiquitous of an example. When they made an away party, if it was a scientific mission, they'd send the scientist. If it was a military one, they'd send Worf and the security team. Or Tasha Yar. Look, if you're a Season 1 fan, that's fine. I can respect that. So, all of the red have no one who's proficient in that skill. It doesn't mean that they can't pass a check. You know, you could still make a performance. The likelihood of succeeding is slightly less because there's not a proficiency. Aha, now we have a couple skills which have 2 members. Now we are getting a little bit of redundancy. And we can go through and color this green. There are a few more that have 3 characters. And we even have stealth, has 4 of the 5 members proficient in it. You know, how would you want to color this? If it's blue and you're like, yeah, blue is fine, that's the threshold. Insight, every character of our party is proficient in Insight. Cat was sniffing at the mage hand. Oh, yeah, we have... So my little calico gargoyle over here is hovering above the pizza boxes that I set by the floor. But however you want to go about this, you know, if you want to make this, if this was sky blue, you're like, oh, well, this is even better. Let's do sky blue 1, and then this is the ultimate. Like, everyone has it. This is absolutely golden, or you would really want to make it stand out. Oh, it's magenta. Whatever makes sense for you. But now we have a graph bar, and this helps us to visualize our strengths and our weaknesses as a party. You can now come down and let's examine our language features, right? If we're building a team that is operating in international waters or is going through different countries, is experiencing contact with a lot of different races in the world, this could be important to know as well. Between the first 4 party members, I already filled in this info, meaning we're going to add only new information that our 5th character is bringing, which in this case is going to be Thieves' Camp. The language of thieves. Also, party tools. Nothing new that we don't already have. And if you want to go through and add the same coloration to indicate how many people can speak it, or if you want to rearrange this or put like Granny and make a whole stat block and do it like that, whatever way you feel is best at manipulating data. How are you comfortable? Have you done statistics reports before? Have you done this sort of a thing? Formulate it your own way, in a way that makes sense to you and everyone else that you'll be playing with as a PC. And I went through also for the first 4 characters, and I loosely defined their role in the party. Granny's a bard, high magic, healing, and we can even put like some melee combat if you want. Colin is a ranger, light magic, ranged and melee availability. Coop, druid, high magic and healing. May's a monk, light magic and heavy melee here. Now we have Condi, who is a monk, rogue, and really is going to be light magic and melee. As she went Way of Shadow, which was interesting because that's what May ended up going. Way of Shadow, and also she's an arcane trickster as a rogue. So with page 1, we as players have sat down and we've mulled it over and said, oh boy, well, we need to figure out ways to make sure that we can handle these situations as they may come up over the course of the campaign. And perhaps a magic spell could help, or if 2 players get together and they help each other, you can oftentimes give an aid to an attack, an ability check of some kind, which means you roll at advantage. So you may not have proficiency, but you could possibly get advantage. And this is a way for us to really conceptualize that. For Extreme Marine, Corrupt Pharaoh. Oh, and I'm sorry, Plague Doctor. I see the high up there. I'm sorry I missed you as I was up getting pizza and such. if any of you are new here, is this methodology making sense to you? Now, will you really find this in the DMG or the PHB or other content? It might allude to stuff like this, but hopefully seeing it play out in front of you is really helping you to understand how we can turn 5 individual characters into a set of information that's almost a character sheet for the entire party. Pizza greater than people. No, Plague Doctor, don't say that. Now, she thinks so. Aye. As for how we know each other, this is somewhat... This is something I might end up talking to Ivalon about, as Ivalon is going to be presenting the campaign tomorrow and a dungeon as a guest DM on the channel. How would we go about getting the party together? That is something that does fall into the lap of a DM. We can conceive ideas together as PCs. And we can say, maybe we all do serve aboard the same ship. You don't have to have the sailor background in order to be a sailor. Though we do have 2 sailors, conveniently enough. And perhaps this is a bit of a sailing-themed campaign. Or if not, it could be travel-based, and we can get around very easily because we do have sailors. Who knows? This is a discussion that we would have to have with our DM. And we don't really need those answers now. One way for us as players to conceptualize how we could come together is by going down to our personalities here and look at your personality traits. Look at your ideals. Especially look at your bonds and your flaws. Secretly, I believe that things would be better if I were a tyrant lording over the land. We would have a meta conversation as friends, as players. Not as, well, my character says to your character his secret plans and his thoughts. But we could say, all right, so this might bring us together because this character here, Colin, is looking for others to impress. Especially if they're influential people, maybe noble people. In fact, we so happen to have a noble, influential person in the party. And so Colin may have come aboard under the service or following behind May. Now, May is aboard. May is, here, I'm going to show you... I'm going to show you a portrait of May. Right, she's neutral evil. While I'm finding this portrait, I want you to take a look at her personality traits, if you can easily read them. Almost there. One moment here. Here we go. Are you ready? This is the character that we effectively generated randomly the other night. Does she look familiar to you? Anyway, I should use that picture as her character picture. She came aboard because she hides a truly scandalous secret that could ruin her family forever. And oh, is she vindictive. If you can read this up here, if you do me an injury, I will crush you, ruin your name, and salt your fields. And that was her first personality trait. I don't like to get my hands dirty. I won't be caught dead in an unsuitable accommodation. Blood runs thicker than water is her ideal. I will face any challenge to win the approval of my family. And she hides a truly scandalous secret that could ruin her family forever. Here we have another halfling. She is ancient, though. She is 250 years or above. And of all coincidences, our very first character is a venerable halfling. She is 225 years old. Something happened in the way back past between these two characters. So Granny here, Granny's been around. Granny is a feature of the ship. If the ship trades hands, Granny goes with it. May wants to come aboard because she might want to resolve, quote unquote, something with Cora. Colin wants to come aboard to try and gain favor and influence. And sure enough, if no one else, May has it. Coop here can come aboard, and you know what? She's from the city. She wants to see things change. She's blunt. She wants to make the poor rich, the rich, cast them down. But she does believe in community. She could be here as a hired hand, or she's on her way to do something. Or we could even say that she, in her quest to try and be a folk hero, is following along our actual folk hero, Colin. Right? Folk hero. Bum-ba-da-dum. So, Coop is following Colin. Colin is following May. May is following Cora. And we have another sailor who's Condi. She could already be aboard the ship as well. And you know what? Cora follows the ship, and so Cora, in a sense, is following Condi. Because we can make Condi the captain or another influential person aboard the ship. Cora herself, because she's not known as Cora, that's the name of the ship. Everyone knows her as Granny. Granny just goes along for the ride with the ship. She loves being on it. The ship comes first to her life. Well, Condi is maybe the acting captain or an influential officer in some way. And so this is a possibility. Of course, as we sit down with our DM, he or she might say something different. So communication is important. I'm going to leave this point blank because this is not my hook, my adventure hook, to get you all in and aboard. The pun intended. What we can do is go into our SWOT report. If any of you have studied business as a student or you're in business, you may be familiar with this term. That stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal to the party. These are things that we can control and that we can conceptualize more readily or easily. Opportunities and threats lie outside of our control. There are things that it's the environment in which we work. If we run a lemonade stand this summer and it turns out to be a very cold and rainy summer, that is a threat to our lemonade stand because people won't buy as much lemonade from us. And unfortunately, we can't control the weather, which is why we have to become druids. It's because you get a spell to do that. Oh, Ivalon, everything has changed. You missed the entire hook of how to get people together. I was actually, you have input on that. I was giving one way that the characters could be hooked together. Now, let's go over some examples here. Let's get a nice side-by-side comparison. And let's get a cat. Oh, we've swapped out. We got the calico, or we went from the calico to the tux. Let's look at our strengths. Come on. Our party is very dex and wisdom proficient. Even if we look at our saves. Almost the entire party is good and quote-unquote should get along. Now, May is neutral evil. Does that mean she's going to try and kill Granny the first chance she gets? Oh, no, no, no. If you're evil, you're going to be more selfish. Granny might have some knowledge, a trinket, or something else that is necessary for May. May will be Granny's best friend until the very end. And that is when she intends to deliver some sort of a treachery. Or, over the course of the campaign, what if May redeems herself? Redemption is a big theme throughout a lot of stories. Dark Wolf, I want to make... you want to make a druid where their motive is to sell lemonade. Right? They can control the weather and they can make a killing. Actually, your adventure will assume the DM and players have decided their own version. Okay, and that's fine, Evelyn. Then we can go with the hook that I threw out. Yes, Evelyn, we have a plague doctor, we have a corrupt pharaoh, and Extreme Marine came back to visit us too. The fool, ha ha ha. I find it sad when people hear evil, they think about killing immediately. Because that's like the most basic desire, right? Oh, bad people. If you're bad, you're evil. You're killing people. You know, you're burning down orphanages and you're kicking puppies in the street every opportunity you have. That is true. Good characters do kill a lot. Sophie, this ain't free, and they're not paying you for this. So can you? All right, thank you. When I hear evil, I want to know what went wrong. You can play very compelling characters that are evil. May, I think, would be an absolute blast to run. Exactly, Plague Doctor. Good is... Oh, by default. Yeah, you're good. You're good. We even have it in our vocabulary. Evil, yeah. Although, if we want to get into the nature versus nurture argument... But that's another time. So anyway, what are some more of our strengths? If we look at our skills, insight for sure. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. I know if it's 10 or under, you're supposed to write the number out. Bear with me. 4 skills have 3 plus... proficiencies. I need my keyboard. Can you move your tail, please, ma'am? There we go. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Sophie. All right. 3 more have at least a backup character. If we look down also, and it could help to compare the region notes or the campaign notes. Most regional languages are spoken. Importantly, the 2 major languages of the campaign setting. We also have 2 secret languages. Coming down here, we do have we can navigate. Well, we have navigator's tools. We do have proficiency in land and water vehicles. Travel proficiencies. And sneaking proficiencies. And if we look down here also, we have high magic, we have healing, we have utility, we have skills. This is a fairly well balanced party. Magic, non-magical, what I'll just say areas. A good character can make an evil choice, and an evil character can make a good choice. Yeah, I know, Ivalon. She was showing off cat butt. Death Count says, think of Peter Baelish, a.k.a. Littlefinger. Yes. Indeed. Now let's examine what are the weaknesses of our party. Do any of you out there see any glaring weaknesses? Remember, this is internal to the party. These are things that are just intrinsic to us. They're things that we can control or at least be aware of and account for. You might want to offer... I'll throw out an example. Charisma, we have an 8, a 9, and a 10. So a little over half the party is average at best at charisma. Can you? You want down somewhere? You're giving up the goods too easily, Sophie. Come on. All right. So, weaknesses. I think we are weaker in charisma. Though we're fairly well balanced in a lot of other aspects. But charisma would be a weak point to us. As well, we have 5 skills here that are red. And we made them red for a reason. Hit points. Well, if you look, yeah, we have 2 10s. We don't have any negative hit points. We have, I don't know, the hit points aren't that, they're not that squishy. Look at these con scores, 14, 10, 14, 10, and 12. If you want, we could put, you know, maybe slightly weak in hit points. 5 skills with no proficiencies. 6 skills with only 1 character proficient. Proficient. Now, why is that a weakness? Well, let's say that Coop is off doing something, and the rest of the party is elsewhere doing something else, and the rest of the party needs someone to pull off a sleight of hand or a knowledge nature. Coop's not around for that, and so there are 0 proficiencies in the party at the time. Something else we can consider for skills. Sir. The cats are swarming because they smell the pizza. And I haven't opened the box, so they know something is good, but they don't know what. Going off of what we explained and how we're linking the party together, I want to highlight something for you here. I think that was all of them. Yep. Okay. Why did I highlight? I'm kind of blocking the 1 here, because that's right up here. Why did I highlight what I did? It might not stand out, but why did I highlight persuasion, insight, and history? Persuasion, insight, and history. Plague Doctor, that's a very cute emoticon. I like that. Golden asks, for RP purposes, let's say the quest giver insulted something the party stands for. Can the party kill the quest giver? Ivalon is asking for a very good... Yeah, I don't see why it would be impossible. Real Dorgrim and my games out aloud. However, my players also know that any actions they take could have consequences. Oh, excellent, Nivalon. I mean, if you wanna show a little bit of ankle now for Golden, just to shore up the answer to his question, you can. Though Golden, Ivalon is going to be our guest DM tomorrow night and is going to be going over a campaign outline and a dungeon outline. And Ivalon has been very thorough in his preparation and can even, reactively or proactively answer a lot. But yes, I agree with Dorgrim and with Ivalon here. I mean, what's to stop that from happening? Then again, if the party comes over, if they're in a marketplace in a foreign kingdom, and everyone in the foreign kingdom thinks that elves are blasphemous creatures, and so a shop in the middle of a market in some random town, the shopkeeper goes, I'll sell you whatever you want, but not to that elf. The elves can go take a long walk off a short pier, if you ask me. Is anything going to stop the party from just committing murder in the middle of the marketplace against a citizen of this country or a resident of this castle or a merchant or whatever? I don't know what would stop them, except for the fact that if this is the culture and the market is filled with several hundred other people who just saw foreigners murk one of their own. As Dorgrim said, what are the consequences? Nothing's stopping them from that. Your party members can be like, but we're about racial diversity and peace, and elves are fine. They're just misunderstood. And the merchant will go, elves are all alike. They're all the south end of a northbound mule. Now, the party said that they're all about peace and love, and then they're just going to murder someone for insulting them. That's something to consider, but think of that. What would be the reaction? What is the natural reaction to that? Does that help answer your question, Golden? And Ivalon, I don't want to step on your toes. If you're going to address this as well, then I want you to address it fully, but I also want to make sure Golden's getting some info up front. Alright, so other weaknesses internal to the party. Charisma, overall. Slightly weak in hit points. 5 skills with no proficiencies. 6 skills with only 1. And did any of you figure out why I highlighted Persuasion, Insight, and History? Yep, that's what makes it fun for the players. And Golden, in games like Fallout 3, the video game's programming will stop you from hurting a child, right? There's quests where there's kids running around, but they effectively don't exist. In D&D, if your players roll through a town and they set it on fire, those players have murdered children. They've killed dogs. They have ruined people's lives. In Fallout 3, it's a quest. The video game tells you, yeah, they're bad guys, and also shoot anywhere you want because you're not going to hurt the kids. If you're a wizard and you're just throwing fireballs in the middle of town, you can hurt children. You can hurt innocents. And it's not just a simple, karma strike against you that you can just give distilled water to, a straggler in the waste and get your karma back. That's not how that works. This is it's oxymoronic to say real life. It is more akin to real life consequences than you'll find in video games, Golden. Oh, yeah. There you go. Ivalon, my mind to your mind. My thoughts to your thoughts. Now, I highlighted those 3 skills because both Granny and May share 3 proficiencies. 2 of them only they have. Persuasion and History. This could lead to some intra-party conflict given the cited rivalry between the 2 characters. Do you think Granny is going to remember History differently than May? They're both ancient figures. Do you think May is going to negotiate and persuade people differently than Granny? That's a weakness inside the party. As well, everyone in the party is capable of at least some kind of magic. This would mean, should the party encounter anti-magic or something similar, everyone in the group will lose utility/function. Because counterspelling, dispelling magic, anti-magic fields, stuff like that exist. Or they could be in a situation where if magic is detected, it will set off an alarm or something. Because everyone can use magic. It doesn't mean they have to. But you are removing parts of all the characters. Because we are magic heavy as a group. Speaking of that, up here I'm going to add high utility. Both magical and non-magical. Do our strengths and weaknesses make sense to you all out there? Golden, if you've been following along, or if you are just arrived and new in the channel asking your question, does this kind of an examination make sense for what we're doing as a party? Pharaoh, Plague Doctor, Extreme Marine, if you guys are still out there. If there's anyone else out there who's lurking and might have a question, are you getting a feel for this process now? Now let's examine as your... you gave yourself a persona. Post it in the art in Discord if you get a chance. Not saying do it now. Dim Sum asks, how is a dungeon master chosen? Don't apologize, Golden. You're fine. If you just arrived and you had this burning question, I'm glad we were able to answer it for you. Dim Sum, it is a volunteer position. A group of friends who want to play D&D will get together, and someone will say, I'll play the role as the dungeon master, and everyone else can play characters in the game. If you really want, you can draw straws or flip a coin, but it's usually a voluntary position for whoever wants to step up and actually run the game. I presume them, Dim Sum, that you are you considering playing D&D? Are you a new player? What would you like to know further about this? Tin Cat. I guess you could do it that way too. Sometimes that tournament's called 1, 2, 3, not it. By the way, I probably beat the rest of you by 10 seconds touching my nose. Did any of you touch your nose when I called 1, 2, 3, not it? If so, you have good reflexes. New player just getting to know the basics, you are in an excellent position for that, Dim Sum. We are speaking right now as players, and we're going over concepts within the game. Echo Lokir. It's Banana Frosted, last name change, I promise. Are you sure, Echo? Tonight we have made our 5th character for our party, and Ivalon is going to be our guest DM tomorrow night and take us through a campaign that you as a beginner DM can follow, right? It's going to be a step-by-step guide to forming an adventure, as well as a dungeon. So tonight what we're doing, we randomly generated our 5th character, and now we're going over the party and we're looking at the party's strengths and weaknesses. We've taken the scores and some other information from the party members, and we've put it all side by side so we can see where they shine and the parts that need some polish. Tin Cat says, good times. I originally joined the stream while you were doing a party sheet like this. You got nostalgia. So what opportunities await this group? Well, given Lukuna has a lot of land and a lot of sea, there is possibility for travel, linguistic fluidity, and some blending in. What other opportunities would await this party? These are things that we can pursue. These are things that, do we know a dungeon exists? Do we know that a treasure lies buried somewhere out there? No. Would we be good at recovering it? Maybe. There's a good possibility. We have a ranger and a druid for interacting with nature. Natural interactions, and moments of stealth. We have 4 characters who are proficient in stealth, and Kandi, our latest one, has an expertise in it. So, an opportunity, something we can't control. This is what our DM will be giving us. We have 2 naturey characters, and 4 of our characters, we can stealth around everywhere. As well, look at perception. Being on the lookout or finding things that we may need. Ivlon says a campaign from 1 to 4. It's still a campaign. If you want to call it a module, you can, but I think because it can fit in a greater overarching story, I would consider it a campaign. Let's see. Dex, and 2 strengths, 3 strengths. Avoidance of strength or dex-based, well, I should say, ill effects. We're very dodgy, and I don't mean that in the negative fashion. Yes, as well, Tin Cat. We know what you are doing at all times. Every person in this party has proficiency in insight. Hiding secrets from us should statistically, 2 qualifier words, should statistically, they should not be able to hide things from us. We should read through lies. We should be reading body language. We should be reading into intent, that kind of a thing. And especially with 3 perception, and then we get then we get all that insight. Oh. Which, by the way, I'm going to add that up here. Insight and stealth are internal to the party. So the opportunity is to be able to look through the lies anyone's telling us, or the manipulations. Party gnome, Velkomen, yawns and waves. Guten Morgen, she mumbles in, scratching her head. Guten Morgen to you. Now, the threat, honestly, this weakness, you'll get some overlap or some concepts. One is looking in, one is looking out. This we could probably move to a threat. Should the party encounter anti-magic, because this is an external force, or something similar, everyone in the group will use some utility or function. Oh, Dark Wolf is proposing a challenge. Granny doesn't need stealth. She just convinces people they aren't there. The party is very weak when it comes to the divine in both knowledge and magical presence. We have no proficiency in knowledge religion, and we do not have a divine-based class. We don't have a cleric nor a paladin. I mean, we have healing, but that's arcane healing or natural healing. I mean, if you want to kind of say that druids might tickle the divine, that could be fine, but I'm talking more conceptually in the realm of here is a monotheistic or a polytheistic culture that has scripture books and things like this. You know, they're drawing their power not from the land, but from, you know, gods on high, or even from below or something, instead of from the trees and the moss and the stones. So, if there's a religious take to this campaign, our party is going to be at odds with it. If there's a lot of undead, there's not a lot of radiant damage available to the party. That could exploit a weakness. In fact, if we look at all our int, Arcana, Investigation, overall intelligence, with the exception of history, but you can even go and say, well, look, Granny and May are both proficient in history, and these two might not like each other and could give different answers. Who would you believe? That can cast doubt even on a proficient history roll. Most anything requiring knowledge of something will be much more difficult. We have okay int scores up here, right? Yeah, you know, a 1 or 2 modifier. Int hasn't been taken as a dump stat. But look at our skills. No one's proficient in Arcana. No one is proficient in Investigation or Religion. Coop is the only one who has Knowledge Nature. And History, we have 2 characters, which is okay. We have redundancy. But these 2 characters don't necessarily get along. Golden also is looking at equipment, and is +1 armor bonus a big thing, because I don't see any reason to take plate armor over scale. Every increase in AC makes it 5% more difficult to hit you, generally speaking. As well, you must consider the properties of the armor as you're looking at them, Golden. Nerf, welcome. We are getting a party together, and if you have any questions, or if you want to share any of your own stories as a player or as a DM in any role playing, let alone D&D, you're welcome to do so. I said 4 because I looked at 24 AC that Party Gnome put up. Now, do you have a better idea of our party? All week, we've made our 5 party members. We've taken all of their information, and we're doing a side-by-side comparison. Now we're actually taking the time to understand what this means and write it out. Putting things out on the table isn't just a map and minis for a battle. It can be information like this. And I like doing this exercise because it brings us together, we share our observations and opinions, and it lets us see in conceptual ways, not just in physical ways with colors or formatting or something like that. Who are we? What do we do? Are we good at it or not? And if not, how are we going to overcome the fact that our party is not that bright? We're not very intelligent, we don't have a lot of skill proficiencies, and we really have zero divine presence among our group. Even if we do consider the Druid a divine class, one of our 5 is divine. And even then, she might not, she might struggle with the more formalized or dogmatic practices that exist. She likes change. She likes the growth and cycle and death and rebirth and all of this. And so a formal religion probably wouldn't sit well with her. So. Golden. I'll go over the party. I'll go through the PDFs real quick with you here. Also, Golden, what you can do, if you look down below, in the stream feed, I list a quick blurb about each of the characters that we've generated so far. Our first character we generated this week, a female stout halfling who is a College of Lore bard with a background of a sailor. She goes by Granny, and oh, she has an amazing story. I would, Golden, definitely watch that episode on YouTube. Watch our character creation of her. Oh, I think that you'll really like it. And you can see the extension of to which you can go to be very creative with a character. Plunderloot, hello, it's good to see you. Our second character of the week is a male high elf ranger who has taken the hunter archetype. He is a folk hero, and he earned that title by infiltrating some tyrant's castle or a fort or something and liberating weapons to give to the peasantry. He is a revolutionary, but he's kind of in it for himself. Next up, we have a female brass Dragonborn. So her scales are brass, are brassy. She is a Circle of the Land Druid, meaning that she focuses more on spells. Think of her as a natural wizard, if that helps make sense. Very magical, she focuses on that primarily instead of shape-shifting. Though, if you get her upset, she'll turn into a bear or a shark and eat you. Her background is an urchin. She grew up poor and destitute in a city, and at some point in time escaped the city and was embraced by a circle of druids who taught her these natural ways. Our fourth character that we generated last night is a neutral evil. Ooh, how do we have an evil character? Well, we do, and it can work. A female Lightfoot halfling. Golden, thank you very much for the subscription. That means a lot to me, and I'm glad that you're able to have such a takeaway from our broadcast here. Thank you. She is a Way of Shadow monk. In other words, she sticks to the darkness. She's a shadow dancer, or you could consider her to be a ninja. She has quite the rivalry with Korra, by the way. As we're generating this story and we're thinking about it, she is going to be a foil or a rival to Korra throughout the campaign. If you want to get a synopsis of the character that we randomly generated here, that's her. I don't know if you have read or if you're watching Game of Thrones. If so, then well, I'm sorry. Bing bing over here. Ooh, you don't want to cross her. Do not cross her. This granny halfling is vicious. She is vicious. And lastly, the character that we just generated tonight, before going through the party party bonding and examination process, Golden, we actually rolled for a multi-class character. There's a 10% chance of us doing that, and we got it. She is a female copper-scaled Dragonborn. She's neutral good. You know, she's a good person. Party gnome Tyrell. I had some chips that are from a family named Tyrell. What do you mean by chips? As in a food, or are you talking like poker chips? What are you referencing, Party gnome? She is a multi-classed monk who also went Way of Shadow. By the way, this is all randomly determined. So she's like half ninja, half rogue. Those blend very well together. And in fact, she's an arcane trickster, meaning she's a rogue that employs magic. Primarily, they have a magic hand that they can summon, and they can pick locks or pick pockets or do other things from a distance by standing back and manipulating this magic hand to kind of go down into someone's pocket or to do other things. It's a very cool, as we're developing, I thought this would make for a really interesting character too. Between copper and brass scales? Copper, brass. So there's our copper Dragonborn. Here's our brass Dragonborn scale colors. Cosmetically, it's color. Each dragon type will also do something differently. Our brass Dragonborn effectively has a flamethrower breath. She can breathe a line of fire 30 feet out in front of her. Our copper Dragonborn sprays, I think she sprays a cone of acid as her breath attack. Dorgrim has an excellent synopsis as well. Which, by the way, the challenge was still open. I named the Dragonborn a bit on the fly, but also to possibly be an Easter egg at something. If I zoom in here a little bit, can any of you give me the Easter egg into the names of each of our Dragonborn characters? Oh, Party Gnome, did I say poison instead of acid? Or are you listing that? If I messed up though, sorry. All right, so everyone calls her Coop because that's really easy to say. Here's her draconic name. Is there an Easter egg in her draconic name somehow, being a brass Dragonborn? Also, is there an Easter egg in her draconic name, being a copper Dragonborn? Think. Kuprazink for the brass, and Conduiz Ktar for the copper. You might be onto something. Maybe, Golden. Can you... I will use a metal pun. Can you refine that idea more? In fact, do you know why? If we call it copper, Golden, why do we use Cu as the atomic the atomic the name? Ah. So Darkwolf might be onto something here. How do you make brass? Brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. Bolin was onto something, so I'm going to award you some extra EXP. Ruben, good to see you. We're getting the party together, and we're making a party worksheet based on the 5 characters we've generated so far this week. There you go, Death. You got it. Now, if we come over, can anyone give a hint, or do you know what the Easter egg is in this dragon name? And Ruben, I'll show you what, I'll zoom out of here in a second. I'm having an Easter egg hunt in the chat right now. I'll zoom out in a second and show you what we've done before I go on a little pizza break real quick. And then we'll come back and we can do something else kind of fun. No problem. No problem. Hey, Dorgrim might be onto something. So we have something like a conduit or a conductor. And you all might think it's hard coming up with fantasy names. Get out of here. But of course, this is archaic and draconic, so everyone just calls her Coop. And for this other complicated draconic name, everyone just calls her Condi. All right, so Ruben, real quick before I take about a 10-minute break. Over the week, we made 5 randomly generated characters, and you kind of saw their sheets are here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I extracted some information from them, and I made a side-by-side comparison of their abilities and their skills and things along those lines. So, from PC to PC, we can see where we are as a party. Where are we strong? Where are we weak? What do we have to watch out for? And where can we really go boldly? I did that with their ability scores, their proficiencies and saves. If you look at their alignment side by side, how can we predict the party will get along with each other? By the way, neutral evil. Oh, that was interesting, huh? We look at athletics, and it's color-coded here based on how many people are proficient in that skill. And unfortunately, we have 5 skills that no one is proficient in. And we went through and we said, all right, well, of all the languages available, the party can speak these ones. Which tools are the party proficient at using? And what are the general roles in combat that our party will have? We've taken all of this statistical data, and aside from working on a basic outline for how we're hooking the party together, why are these people traveling together, we did what's called a SWOT report, SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And as you can see, strengths and weaknesses are internal to the party. Opportunities and threats are external to the party. So if you see this here, our party has a strength because internally we know 2 secret languages. That's a strength. What's a weakness? Well, 5 skills with no proficiencies, that could be a party weakness. As we look outside of the party, it is going to be so easy for us to travel around and speak to the natives because we have those languages covered. We have proficiency with land and water vehicles. And at least 2 of our members, at least 2 of our party members are locals to the region that the campaign will take place in. And what could be a threat? What is something that we can't control as a party that could be a danger? Well, should the party encounter some kind of anti-magic or something similar, everyone in the group will lose utility or function. Everyone in this group can cast some kind of magic. And if we were to encounter anti-magic, that could be debilitating. Also, while our intelligence scores are okay, you know, we have a slightly above average intelligence. Look at our intelligence proficiencies. Of the 5 intelligence skills, 3 of them have no proficiency. 1 only has 1. And history, which has 2, the 2 ladies who are proficient in history are in a rivalry with each other and might remember history a little differently, causing doubt among the rest of the party. So, does that, Ruben, does that make sense for you? And also, you know, for Golden again, I can ask, or if we had Dim Sum, if you're still lurking around, did that synopsis, does that make sense? You know, we didn't have to roll any dice, I mean, for this portion anyway, but this can be a part of D&D. We have effectively made another party member by making a character sheet for the party itself. You're very welcome, Ruben. Tin Cat is mildly impressed by Party Gnome. Oh, yeah. So, yes, that was the... Whoops. That was the concept here. He was named because he is a folk hero who liberated weapons from a tyrant to give to the poor. And he's a revolutionary person. He's confident in his own abilities, he gets bored easily, and he wants to get on with his destiny. Secretly, though, he believes that things could be better if he were the tyrant lording over the land. He's very headstrong. He wants to prove himself. He wants to take over. He wants to rule, even if as a benevolent tyrant. He's a revolutionary person, and so that was reflected in his name. And then we just kind of... We kind of, because he's a high elf, we kind of elfed up his name a little bit. That's different than effing up his name. We elfed up his name. Some of the numbers weren't highlighted because those were the strength of that character. If we go back to it, 17 is the highest number for Granny overall, and in charisma, she is the highest charisma. So when you have colored stripes like this, by removing the highlighting, it draws your eye and your focus, and it's easier to see what we want to show off. In this case, yeah, a benevolent tyrant. So he will rule you, and he demands obedience, but he's not going to, he's not going to kill your firstborn child because he's bored that day. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. I had some pizza delivered in this last segment. I'm going to enjoy that. And you all enjoy the conversation, the role-playing we have going on here. And when we come back into part 3, it's open questions and answers. If you want to build a character, if you have a question about D&D or mechanics, what does it take to be a DM? What does this mean as a PC? It's a free-form, free-flowing conversation, okay? All right, I have returned. I ate a couple slices of pizza, got some nice cold water. I'm good to go. We're going to be entering into part 3, which is open conversation. Although I think I have a project that we can work on together. Golden and Chemison are both fairly new to D&D here. And I think we can make a character, a first level character for them so that they can see how it works from the ground up. Chemison, as I extended the offer to you first chronologically, did you have a character concept that you would like to see made? I'll be live here in a second. Well, fully anyway. You're hearing my voice, hopefully. Oh, we got some nice... Caden, welcome. Hey, we got some nice role-playing going on in chat, too. Ruben's on board, too. Nope. Chemison, are you out there? If not, Golden, is there a type of character that you would like to see built? If not, we can randomly generate one, but if you have a particular character in mind, I can go from there. What type of a character? So something like a dwarven paladin, an elven ranger, something along those lines. I'm getting my books open right now. You want to make a paladin? All right. Is there any particular... Do you have any kind of a... do you want it to be a particular race, or do you want to leave that random, Golden? Hi, I'm back. Dun dun dun. Party Gnome and Caden are kind of recovering things here. Tin Cat's going fishing. Creeper, welcome. Yeah, you're jumping on board here as we're going to go through an exercise in character creation from the ground up in this third part of the stream. If you have any questions, LJ Creeper 87, or if you're a new player, a new DM, maybe you're thinking of playing, or heck, you could have been playing for the past 20 years. You're welcome to share your stories, ask any questions that you'd like along the way. This is a conversation channel. It's about D&D, but this is a conversation, not a lecture. If you're not sure, Paladin, we can introduce random elements to the character, but if you have a type of character that you would like to see built, we can build something around a Paladin for you. If you don't already have a character sheet, Golden, I would like you to follow along. So, Golden, if you can follow my link to that character sheet website, you can download a form-fillable PDF, and you can follow along the process. I mean, any of you can. Go to the link and download it. You can follow along the process also at home. Oh, almost. Yeah. Well, no, wait. You have advantage, right? Party gnome has advantage with a +1, so you rolled a 7 and an 8. 8 plus 1 is 9, and you only needed a 9 party gnome. You win. Oh, yeah, so it was an almost... Yeah, you almost missed it.